following on from chapter 10 is the January 19 diary entry. I just wanted to clarify I found the word that I was looking for, which was stupefied, and that means stunned. Okay, I'm just going to get straight into it. January 19. Dear Martin, I don't get how you did it, just being straight up. Every day I walk through the halls of that elitist ass school, I feel like I don't belong there, and every time Jared or one of them opens their damn mouth, I'm reminded they agree. Every time I turn on the news and see another black person gunned down, I'm reminded that people look at me and see a threat instead of a human being. There was some white dude on TV after the Tavarius Jenkins thing broke, talking about how cases like his and Shamar Carson's deflect from the issue of black on black crime. But how are black people supposed to know how to treat each other with respect when we were brought over here? We've been told we're not respectable. What the hell are we supposed to do, Martin? What am I supposed to do? Be like Manny and act like there's nothing wrong with a white dude asking his N-words to help him exploit a black girl? Do I just take what they dish out, try to stop being so sensitive? What do I do when my very identity is being mocked by people who refuse to admit there's a problem? I know I did the wrong thing tonight, but right now I can't find it in me to be remorseful. Those assholes can't seem to care about being offensive, so why should I give a damn about being agreeable? I gotta say, I've been reading your sermons and studying your books for 6 months now, and it feels like all I have to show for it is frustration and a sense of defeat. I swear I heard some girl ask, why are black people so angry all the time, as I left Blake's house? But how else am I supposed to feel? My hand hurts. I'm going to bed. Okay, so just a really short little diary entry. I think Juz is feeling disillusioned, which was one of our words of the day a while ago, and he is also feeling dejected. He's losing hope. He feels angry, resentful, and I think that there's a lot of built up anger. And he's really questioning how can he try to maintain peaceful protest and peaceful cooperation to encourage equality when he feels like everything's against him, when people make derogatory comments against him, when they use slurs like the N-word, when they just mock him and don't acknowledge the fact that they do hold racial prejudice and that there are issues there with racism. So there's a fair bit going on there in that little diary entry. I'm going to get started on chapter 11. Knock, knock, knock. Justice rolls over onto his back and gropes around for his cell phone, squints at the glaring bright screen, 17 missed calls, 4 voicemails, and 9 text messages from a combo of Manny, Mama, and Mello. More knocking then. Juz, you in there? He groans. Justice McAllister is unavailable. Please leave a message. It's Dr. Dre, man. Open up. Doc? Justice sits up too fast and his forehead smacks against something hard. Ow, he shouts. Juz, you alright? Door's open, he says. Before his head clears enough for him to figure out where he is and how he got there, Doc is squatting near his feet. Rough night? The underside of his mahogany desk swims into focus. So does the realization that his pants are around his shins. Oh, shit. He scrambles from beneath the desk and stands to pull them up, but his head throbs so intensely he stumbles. Whoa there. Doc positions the chair behind him. Have a seat. Once he does, Doc pulls a bottle of Gatorade from his bag and passes it to Juz. Drink, he says. All of it. I'm sure you're dehydrated. Juz turns the bottle up. What time is it? He asks between swigs. According to that clock beside you, it's 11:11. Doc smiles. Make a wish, or do kids not do that these days? I can't keep up with y'all. Justice peers around the room, the sunlight streaming through the pieces of tissue paper Brazelton Preparatory Academy calls curtains. The thought of it makes his head throb again. He also needs to throw up. Ugh, excuse me, he says, falling out of the chair in the direction of the bathroom. There goes the Gatorade. He flushes, splashes some cold water on his face, and takes a good look in the mirror. That's when it hits him. Doc just found me under the desk in my dorm room with my pants down. Is he dreaming? Doc, you still there? Yeah. Juz gulps. You, got any plans for this fine Saturday? Come on out here, Juz. Dang it. Do I have to? No, but it'd be definitely in your best interests. Juz takes himself in one more time and shakes his head. Doc is sitting with his elbows on his knees and his hands clasped at the edge of Juz's perfectly made bed, which reminds Juz he didn't sleep in it. He shakes his head again. Doc smiles, nods toward the desk chair. Talk to me, Juz, he says, once Justice is seated. Juz runs his hands down his face. What do you want me to say? I just want to know what's up. I got a call from Manny a couple of hours ago. He's really worried about you. Just snorts. Doc smiles. He told me you'd do that. Whatever. That dude doesn't know me. Doc's expression turns serious. Tell me what happened, man. You mean Manny didn't tell you when he called you to tattle on me? Doc doesn't say a word to that. Just stares at Justice with his piercing green eyes. There's no judgment in them at all. With Doc eyeing him like that, last night floods Juzz's memory and the ache in his bruised knuckle seems to intensify. He drops his chin. I messed up, Doc. How so? Juzz looks up. Manny really didn't tell you anything? Doc pulls his phone from his pocket, taps the screen a few times, then holds it up. Manny's voice pours out of the speaker. Morning, Dr. Dre. Don't mean to bother you on a Saturday. I was wondering if you'd mind going by the dorm to check on Justice. He's gone through some things and well, he's not answering his phone and I'm sure he doesn't want to see me. And if you could just pop by there and make sure he's all right, I'd really appreciate it. Room 217. When I called him to get more info, Doc says all he said was the two of you had a little to drink and there was a disagreement. He thought you could probably use someone to talk to. Juzz doesn't reply. So what's up, man? Why would Manny think you don't want to see him? Justice scratches his head. He needs a haircut. I got drunk, Doc. Well, I figured as much. Doc points to the empty Gatorade bottle. I got drunk and made the mistake of going to Blake Benson's house. Some stuff set me off and I really messed up, man. Care to expound? Justice sighs. Ever since my run-in with the cop, I've been on high alert, noticing stuff I would have glossed over or tried to ignore before. Makes sense. And this might sound dumb, but I started this project, Juzz says. For the past 6 months, I've been studying Dr. King's stuff again and trying to apply it. He looks up at Doc. Still no judgment there. I've been writing letters to him in a notebook. That's what's on your desk? Juzz looks over his shoulder at the blue composition book with Dear Martin in the white space. Yeah. Doc nods. Go on. Well, it was going fine, I guess. But then, remember how I told you my dad passed away when I was 11? Yes, I do. Well, he had PTSD from the military and was an alcoholic. And when he was alive, he would drink too much and go into these rages. And he would hit my mum. I'm sorry to hear that, Juzz. Juzz shrugs. Was what it was. I caught a glimpse of his eyes one time. There was nothing in them. It was almost like he wasn't even in his body, like his fists and feet were on autopilot and his brain had checked out. Doc nods. I think something like that happened last night. Like, was I even there? Was that what it was? I caught a glimpse of his eyes one time and there was nothing in them. It's almost like he wasn't even in his body, like his fists and feet were on autopilot and his brain had checked out. Doc nods. I think something like that happened last night. I remember being pissed about some stuff in Blake's basement and then he came over to me and Manny and said something that just pushed me over the edge. Words were exchanged and then the next thing I remember my hand was killing me and Blake and Jared were getting up from the floor. I see. Yeah, Jazz chuckles. I feel like I shouldn't be telling you this because it's going to get me expelled. It sounds to me like you're taking responsibility. That's 10-4 of the B Prep Honor Code, isn't it? Doc grins. I guess it is. Anyway, it's scary to think about now. The last person I ever want to be like is my dad. Dude died in a fiery car crash with a blood alcohol level of 2.5. But last night I was just like him. I swear I'm never drinking again, man. Doc laughs. That's a good start. And then Manny, Jazz shakes his head. I just don't know why he puts up with those assholes. He looks up. Oh, sorry, Doc smiles. It's okay. We're in your domain. You were saying. Well, I know it's dumb, but when I hear him agree with those guys on stuff, he has to know he's wrong. I don't know, Doc. Doc doesn't respond. I'm pretty sure I called him a sellout, Jazz said. Right now I'm still so mad at him and I don't even feel bad about it. I know he probably wasn't trying to take their side last night, but for him to get on me after the stuff Blake and Jared said, it's like he doesn't even care that they're disrespecting him. Or me. Doc nods. Mind if I play devil's advocate for a second? I don't want to dismiss your sentiments. I just want to give you a little perspective. Okay. So I grew up like Manny until I hit the 10th grade and transferred to a magnet academy in the city. I was the only person of colour at my school. You remember how it felt to realise you only have so much control over how people see you? How could I forget? Jazz rubs his wrists. Well, that's what it's like for me at the new school. Everybody saw me as black, even with the light skin and green eyes. The black kids expected me to know all the cultural references and slang, and the white kids expected me to act black. It was a rude awakening for me. When you spend your whole life being accepted by white people, it's easy to ignore history and hard to face stuff that's still problematic. You feel me? I guess. And as for you, the only way you're going to thrive is if you're okay with yourself, man. People are going to disrespect you, but so what? Guys like Jared don't have any bearing on how far you get in life. If you know the stuff they're saying isn't true, why let it bother you? Judge shakes his head. I respect what you're saying, but it's not that simple. Go on. It's frustrating, man. When you work hard and you earn your way and people suggest you haven't and you're not worthy, that shit hurts, Doc. Of course it does, Juzz. But who are you doing it for? Them or you? Juz puts his head in his hands. Another quick story, Doc says. In grad school, I had this massive fro. Usually wore it in cornrows. I'll never forget the way my doctoral advisor frowned when I stepped into his office for the first time. Throughout my entire PhD candidacy, he was hypercritical of my work, told me to my face I'd never succeed. Just if I'd listened to him, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. Justice sighs. I'll let you get some rest, Doc says, rising from the bed. He puts another bottle of Gatorade and a Ziploc bag with 2 pills in it on the bedside table. Got you some ibuprofen from the infirmary. Try to stay hydrated, all right? Justice nods. Thanks for coming by to check on me, Doc. Anytime, my man. Doc shakes Justice's shoulder. As Doc pulls his bag strap across his chest and turns to leave, Justice glances over at his phone, remembers all the missed calls and messages, and the lack thereof from a certain former debate partner. Doc, let me ask you something. Doc turns and sticks his hands in his pocket. Shoot. Do you... Am I really about to ask this? Do you have a girlfriend? Why do you ask? Well, what exactly is he supposed to say? This about SJ, Doc says. Justice's eyebrows lift. Doc laughs. You think I didn't notice the change between you two? It sucks, Doc. Juz drops his chin. She'll come around. Get some rest, okay? Yeah, all right. Juz gets up and goes over to fall on the bed as Doc pulls the door open. He's asleep before he hears it click shut. Okay, so chapter 11 was very much about life advice from Doc. And it was also very much about Juz processing his actions, his anger, his aggression, and everything else. I'm going to resume this shortly because I feel like I'm needed.